Here's the challenge. Describe a person who has, like, really strong opinions. You got to tell me who they are, how you know them, why you think they're so opinionated, what kinds of opinions they have, and then explain how you feel about those opinions. You've got 1 minute to think, and then 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Ready? Your time starts now.
Tick-tock. And remember, it's not just what you say, it's how you say it that gets those high scores.
All right, time's up. Let's hear that Band-Aid answer first.
Okay, here goes. I'd like to talk about my uncle. He's my father's older brother, and I've known him, like, my whole life. He's a very confident person, and he always speaks his mind, which is why I think he has strong opinions. He's got strong opinions about things like politics and education. For example, he believes that everyone should have access to free education because it's, the key to improving society. He also talks a lot about how governments should do more to help poor people. I feel that his opinions are interesting, but sometimes, he can be a bit stubborn. He doesn't always listen to other people's views, which can make conversations with him kind of challenging. However, I respect him for standing up for what he believes in.
Good effort. Now let's see how you step it up with the Band 9 answer for the same task.
Okay, Band 9 coming up. I'd like to describe my best friend, Sarah. We've been friends for over 10 years, and one thing I've always admired about her is her ability to, express her thoughts so clearly and confidently. Sarah has strong opinions about environmental issues and gender equality. She's really passionate about reducing plastic waste, and she's always encouraging others to, adopt eco-friendly habits. She also really strongly advocates for equal opportunities for women in the workplace, and she isn't afraid to challenge stereotypes or biases when she sees them. I find her opinions really inspiring because they're, well-informed and driven by a genuine desire to make the world a better place. While she can be pretty firm in her beliefs, she's also open to listening to others as long as they approach the discussion respectfully.
Excellent. Both answers, hit the main points, but let's take a closer look.
Right off the bat, that Band 9 answer just felt more alive. It's not just listing opinions, it's showing us why Sarah's so interesting.
I know, right? When it says she encourages others to adopt eco-friendly habits or challenges stereotypes, we actually see her beliefs in action. It's way more compelling than just saying someone talks a lot about something.
And the language. Advocates, well-informed, genuine desire. It paints such a vivid picture of someone who's, thoughtful and not just opinionated.
Plus, notice how it handles a potential negative. Firm in her beliefs, but open to listening respectfully. That subtle framing, that's classic Band 9. It shows she's complex, not just one-sided like the Band 8 answer.
So it's about showing depth, using stronger verbs, and anticipating what the listener might be thinking.
You got it. Now, are you ready to tackle part 3 where we really dig into these ideas?
Bring on the follow-up questions. I think our listeners warmed up and ready to show off those nuanced communication skills.
All right, listener, let's jump into part 3. This is where the examiner, really digs deeper. They want to see how well you can discuss bigger themes that connect to the topic. Are you ready for some real brain ticklers?
Oh, I can't wait to hear how our listener handles these. Part 3 is where those critical thinking skills really come out to play.
Okay, first question. Do you think it's a good thing to have strong opinions?
Ooh, good one. Time to compare those Band 8 and Band 9 answers. First up, let's hear the Band 8.
Yes, I think it's good to have strong opinions because it, shows that you care about things. But it's also important to respect other people's views and not force your opinions on them.
Solid answer, hits all the basics. Now let's see how the Band 9 response takes it up a notch.
Okay, here's the Band 9. Having strong opinions can be beneficial as it, reflects confidence and passion for certain values or ideas. However, it's equally important to remain open-minded and respectful toward differing perspectives to encourage, healthy discussions.
Ooh, did you feel that shift in tone?
For sure. The Band 8 was straight to the point, which isn't bad or anything, but the Band 9 just elevates it, you know what I mean? Totally. It's still saying, yeah, strong opinions are good, but it's framed in a way that shows a much deeper understanding of how communication works.
On to the next challenge. Do you think we should only say something after really thinking it through? Here's the Band 8 answer. Yes, I think it's better to think before speaking because if you don't, you might say something wrong or hurt someone's feelings.
Straightforward, focuses on, avoiding those negative consequences. Let's see how Band 9 tackles this one.
Okay, Band 9 coming right up, absolutely. Taking the time to think before speaking ensures that our words are, thoughtful and considerate. It helps us communicate more effectively and reduces the chances of misunderstandings or offending others unintentionally. I
Uh-huh.
love that. Absolutely, at the start, just oozes confidence.
Doesn't it? And while both answers are about thinking before you speak, the Band 9 highlights those positive outcomes. Thoughtful words, effective communication. It's not just about, you know, not messing up.
Yeah, it's like Beatty's playing defense, Band 9 is going on the offense with language.
Haha. Love that analogy. All right, listener, next question. Which is more important, listening to others or persuading others?
Ooh, classic communication dilemma. Here's our Band-Aid take on it. I think listening is more important because it helps you understand other people's ideas. If you don't listen, you can't have a good conversation.
Makes sense. Very practical, focused on the importance of listening. What about Band 9?
Here we go. Listening is undoubtedly more important as it fosters mutual understanding and respect in any discussion. While persuasion has its place, effective communication begins with genuinely understanding the other person's perspective. I love that, undoubtedly. Mic drop. Case closed.
Right. It just shows so much conviction. And it doesn't just say listening is good for conversation. It links it to these like big ideas, mutual understanding, respect.
It's almost like the Band 9 answer is subtly teaching the examiner something new, even though it's just answering the question.
Okay, shifting gears a bit.
Ah.
Are there many young people who have strong opinions in our lives?
Let's hear what our Band 8 test taker has to say about that.
Yes, many young people today have strong opinions, especially about things like climate change or social issues. They use social media to, share their ideas with others.
Pretty straightforward observation. Social media, the go-to example these days. How does Band 9 handle this one?
All right, here's Band 9. Yes, young people today are increasingly vocal about their beliefs, particularly on topics such as climate change, mental health awareness, and social justice. Platforms like social media give them the tools to, express their views widely and advocate for change. I think it's interesting how Band 9 uses increasingly vocal instead of just, have strong opinions. Feels a little more dynamic, right?
Yeah, for sure. And it's not just social media for sharing. It's about advocating for change. Implies a more like a proactive stance, not just ranting online. Next question. What do old people have strong opinions about? Here's the Band 8. Old people often have strong opinions about, traditions and how things used to be in the past. They also talk a lot about family values and how young people should behave.
Okay, maybe a little stereotypical, but it does capture some common themes for sure. What about Band 9?
Band 9, take it away. Older generations tend to hold strong opinions on topics such as cultural traditions, family values, and, societal changes over time. They often emphasize preserving customs and may express concern about how modern lifestyles differ from those they grew up with. Both answers talk about pretty similar things, but the Band 9 one just feels nicer somehow.
I agree, it's subtle. Tend to hold instead of just have, may express concern. It's trying to understand those opinions, not just label them.
Makes you wonder if the examiners pick up on that, how the language reveals your attitude towards what you're talking about.
I bet they do. Last question. What do young people have strong opinions about?
Back to the youth. Band 8, go for it. Young people usually have strong opinions about things like technology, social media, or issues like climate change and equality because those things are really important in their lives.
Lists all the usual suspects. Let's hear how Band 9 wraps things up.
All right, final Band 9 answer. Young people are particularly passionate about issues such as environmental sustainability, gender equality, mental health awareness, and technological innovation. These topics resonate with them because they directly impact their future and reflect their progressive mindset.
Ah, there's that classic Band 9 move, weaving in those bigger, more complex concepts. Resonate, progressive mindset.
And even the list of topics feels more like carefully chosen. Environmental sustainability sounds way more considered than just climate change.
Great point. Okay, we've really put our listener through their paces with part 3. Time to unpack what we've learned.
So much to process. But I think some clear patterns are emerging, wouldn't you say?
Totally. It's like we've been watching a master class in communication, but instead of just seeing the finished product, we get to see all the behind the scenes techniques.
Yeah. And what keeps striking me is how those Band 9 answers just consistently show more sophisticated thinking. It's not about just stating an opinion. It's showing you understand different perspectives, even when you have a strong stance of your own.
It's like they're having a real conversation with the listener, thinking about what they might be thinking and addressing it directly.
Exactly. Remember that bit about Sarah? Firm in her beliefs, but open to listening respectfully. Classic Band 9. It's not about being right. It's about showing you can handle those tricky social situations.
And that ties into something else I've noticed. The examples. The Band 9 answers don't just say young people care about climate change. They talk about actually advocating for change, which is so much more like active and impactful. It's the difference between saying, I like pizza, and actually describing your favorite toppings and that little hole-in-the-wall place where you get it. The details make it real.
And it's not just about using big fancy words either, although those beneficial and undoubtedly moments were pretty impressive. It's more about the thinking that's behind the language,
For
right?
sure. Imagine you're building a house. Vocabulary is like the bricks and mortar, but the architecture, the design, that's the thinking that makes it stand out.
So for our listener who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this, what are some key takeaways they can actually use?
Okay, first, don't underestimate the power of structure. The Band 9 answers weren't just rambling, they were building their arguments carefully, acknowledging different sides, and then giving your own view clearly.
Yeah, it's like they're saying, hey, I get where you're coming from, but here's why I think this.
Mm.
Respectful and persuasive all at the same time.
Second, strong verbs are your best friends. Advocates, encourages, resonate. Those words show someone who's really engaged with the world, not just watching from the sidelines.
It's like the difference between saying, sunset was pretty, and saying, the fiery hues of the sunset painted the sky with breathtaking beauty. One's just a fact, the other takes you there.
And lastly, don't be afraid to connect with the listener, even on a formal exam. Examples, personal stories, even a well-placed absolutely can make you sound more human, more relatable.
It's like saying to the examiner, hey, I'm not just a test-taking machine. I'm a person with thoughts and feelings and experiences that shape what I believe.
So whether you're tackling the IELTS or just want to be a more, powerful communicator in everyday life, remember, structure, strong verbs, and that personal touch can make all the difference.
This deep dive has been seriously eye-opening. I feel like I've learned as much about communication in general as I have about the IELTS itself.
Me too. It's amazing how looking at something closely, like we did with those Band 8 and Band 9 answers, can reveal so much about how we think and express ourselves.
Well, dear listener, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the IELTS speaking exam, but the conversation doesn't stop here. We want to challenge you to think about your own communication style. Where could you add a little more nuance, structure, or that personal touch?
Remember, becoming a more effective communicator is a journey, not a destination. It's all about continuous learning, practicing, and being open to, new ways of seeing things.
Until next time, keep those minds sharp, those words flowing, and remember, even a seemingly simple conversation can have hidden depths just waiting to be explored.